Hello students, hope you all are fine. Today we are going to start a new chapter, namely Basic Computer Operations. Its first subtopic is Procedure for Starting a Computer. In computing, booting is the process of starting a computer. It can be initiated by hardware such as a button press or by a software command. After it's switched on, a computer's CPU has no software in its main memory. So some process must load software into memory before it can be executed. This may be done by a hardware or firmware in the CPU or by a separate processor in the computer system. Booting is complete when the operative runtime system, typically operating system and some applications, are attained. Steps to be followed for starting a computer. Step 1 is locate your computer's power button. If you want to boot a PC, then the button is most likely to be on the box-like device. If you are using a laptop computer, then the boot button is mostly likely to be on the inner side of the laptop, usually on one of the upper corners. Step 2 is power on your computer. After locating your computer's power button, press it to power on your computer. Your PC will now boot into the BIOS, that is, Basic Input-Output System. This is the part of the boot process that tells your computer what it should do. For example, boot Windows, give a keyboard error, turn off the PC for overheating, etc. Step 3 is wait for the operating system to load. Depending on the system of your computer, the operating system could take a while to load. Normally, no input would be required here unless your computer failed to boot. Then you will need to select from some recovery options. Step 4 is log into your operating system. If you have a password on your computer, you will now be prompted to enter it. Otherwise, your computer will boot into the desktop. You can now start using your computer to do whatever you like. So actually what happens when you push the power on button? The power button is simply a contact switch connected to the motherboard. The contact switch is connected to a circuit on the motherboard that activates the PSU's power on input. When the PSU detects the power on signal, it turns on and starts supplying power to all the components. All the fans spin up and the hard drive turns on. This is why you hear all the whirring when you push the power button. The first thing that happens at power on is the CPU starts executing the program stored in the BIOS chip's memory. The CPU sends out the memory address that corresponds to the BIOS, which then signals the BIOS chip to deliver the data contained in that memory, and that data works its way back to the CPU, where it's executed. This program contains the routines for the CPU to be able to detect and access the drives, including boot from USB or boot from CD. How to load the operating system, basic keyboard inputs, and also other similar memory like the network boot ROM. When the BIOS program is done with all the self-testing and is ready to boot, it scans all drives that it knows how to access for a valid bootloader. The CPU is now set up to begin loading of the operating system from the boot drive. That is, the CPU sends out the address of the data that it wants, and the device produces data which is then routed back into the CPU where it's executed. or loaded into the RAM where it's stored for later execution. Next is procedure for shutting a computer. A computer shouldn't be turned off by pressing the same button that you press to turn it on. If you do that, you can actually lose data or damage some of the processes in the machine. Think of turning off the computer properly as letting it fall asleep. When you are finished with your computer session, you can do any of the following. First is shutdown. Shutdown completely turns off the computer's power. When you restart, the operating system must completely reload. Second is sleep. The computer goes into a low power consumption mode that keeps only the memory powered. It appears to be off, but when you turn it back on again, it comes back up faster because the memory has remained powered. Third is sign out. Using this command, sign out your user account and displays the prompt for someone else to sign in. Steps for shutting a computer. Step 1 is click the Windows button at the bottom left hand corner of your screen as shown in the image. Step 2 is click Shutdown. Step 3 is if you have left any programs running or documents open, you will get a message as shown in the image. You have two options now. First is click cancel and then close everything that had been listed in the message, saving when necessary. And second is click force shutdown. The computer will automatically close all your documents, programs and so on without saving anything. Next is operating system. An operating system is a type of system software that manages computer hardware and software resources. It provides common services for computer programs. An operating system acts as a link between the software and the hardware. It controls and keeps a record of the execution of all other programs that are present in the computer, including application programs and other system software. Most of the time, there are several different computer programs running at the same time, and they all need to access your computer's CPU, memory, and storage. The operating system coordinates all of this to make sure each program gets what it needs. Some of the popular operating systems used in PCs are DOS, Windows, Unix, Linux, Solaris, etc. An operating system can be a single user or a multi-user operating system. A single user operating system allows only one user to work at any time. For example, Windows 7. But a multi-user operating system allows two or more users to use a powerful computer at the same time. For example, the Linux. Next is functions of an operating system. First is security. The operating system uses password protection to protect user data and similar other techniques. It also prevents unauthorized access to programs and user data. Second is control over system performance. Operating system monitors the health of our system's hardware, giving us an idea of how well or not it's performing. We can see how busy our CPU is, or how quickly our hard drives retrieve data, or how much data our network card is sending. And it also monitors system activity for malware. This can help to improve performance by providing important information needed to troubleshoot problems. Third is job accounting. Operating system keeps track of time and resources used by various tasks and users. Next is error detecting aids. Operating system constantly monitors the system to detect errors and avoid the malfunctioning of computer system. Next is interface between the user and the hardware. An operating system provides an interface between user and machine. This interface can be a graphical user interface in which user clicks on screen elements to interact with operating system, or a command line interface in which user types commands at the command line interface to tell the operating system to do things. Next is memory management. The operating system manages the primary or main memory. It keeps track of primary memory, that is, which bytes of memory are used by which user program, the memory addresses that have already been allocated, and the memory addresses of the memory that has not been yet used. In multiprogramming, the operating system decides the order in which processes are granted access to memory and for how long. It allocates the memory to a process when the process requests it and deallocates the memory when the process has terminated or is performing an input-output operation. Next is processor management. In a multiprogramming environment, the operating system decides the order in which processes have access to the processor and how much processing time each process has. This function of operating system is called scheduling. An operating system performs the following activities for processor management. It keeps track of the status of all the processes. The program which performs this task is known as traffic controller. It also allocates the CPU, that is processor, to a process and deallocates the processor when a process is no more required. Next is device management. An operating system manages device communication via their respective drivers. It keeps track of all devices connected to a system. It designates the program responsible for every device, known as the input-output controller. It decides which process gets access to a certain device and for how long. It also allocates devices in an effective and efficient way and deallocates devices when they are no longer required. The last function is file management. A file system is organized into directories for efficient or easy navigation and usage. These directories may contain other directories and other files. Operating system displays structure or directories for data management. We can view file and folder listings and manipulate on those files and folders like move, copy, rename, delete, and many others. Next topic is MS Windows. MS Windows is the most popular operating system for PCs. It has been designated by Microsoft Corporation, USA, hence the name MS Windows. It's easy to understand and use. Most of the features are displayed in the form of small pictures or buttons. The features can be executed by just a click of mouse, so there is no need for learning a code or language for using it. It has many built-in features and also supports various softwares which allows us to communicate with other computers. For example, NetMeeting, Microsoft Outlook, etc. This is Windows screen. Starting Windows. As soon as we start Windows, a screen will appear on the video, that is Visual Display Unit. This screen is called Desktop. It has some small pictures displayed on it. These small pictures represent various applications and are called icons. An icon is any picture that is meant to convey what something is. The icon on the Start button represents the fact that is a major part of Windows, which is why it's the Windows logo. At the extreme lower end of the screen is a horizontal bar called the taskbar. It displays the Start button and several other buttons which tell us which windows are currently open. If we minimize a window, its title will appear as a button on the taskbar. Whenever we want to again open the window, we just have to click on its button. The taskbar is not fixed at the bottom of the screen. It can be placed at any of the four sides of the screen using drag and drop method. Toolbar can be added to taskbar as and when required. A shortcut of any application can be created on the toolbar by just dragging the application and dropping it on the toolbar. An icon of the application appears on the toolbar. Application can be activated directly from toolbar by just double-clicking on the icon. Here icons are shown: taskbar, start button, toolbar, hidden icons, and time and date. On the extreme right, the applications which continuously run in background are indicated, such as time, date, etc. This area is called the notification area. There is an upward arrow head also, which when clicked shows some hidden icons such as battery status, speaker volume, Wi-Fi signal status, various plugins, etc. The hidden icons are shown in the image. Next is keeping track of windows. All the open programs or files are represented as a button with the corresponding icon on the taskbar. If there are more than one window open on the screen, only the latest open windows button will be highlighted on the taskbar. For example, if a Word document is opened and then without closing it, a Notepad document is opened, then their buttons will appear as shown in the image. When the mouse is moved over the buttons on the taskbar, a small preview or picture of the corresponding window appears, which is called the thumbnail. If there are several documents of the same type opened, for example 3 documents of a Word are opened, then the button on the taskbar appear like W. Next is Start menu. If you click on the Start button, you see that it brings up a Start menu. The menu allows you to easily access many of the software programs on your computer. To view all the applications available on the computer, you have to first click All Programs. A list of applications or their folders will appear. Next, you have to click on any application to open its directory. Start menu is shown in the image. You see here there are all programs. Next is Search tab. Search tab is the tab where you can search any application or file or folder to find out if it exists on your computer. If yes, then you have to find its location. For that you have to type the title to be searched, then press enter. A list of all files or folders will be displayed. Then you have to click on your file to open it. Next is folders on Start menu. On the right side of Start menu, the following folders can be seen on Windows 7. First is User. A personal folder for the user where user's files get stored. Second is Documents. Documents contain the date-wise diary of all the programs or documents created by the user. Third is Pictures. It's a folder where all the pictures downloaded or copied get stored by default. Next is Music. All the audio files get stored in this folder by default. Games. It contains all the games provided for free with Windows 7. Computer. It displays all the drives, devices and removable storage devices attached to the computer. Next is Control Panel. It's a facility given by Windows 7 using which you can change the settings like display, accessibility, security, etc. for your computer. Next is Devices and Printers. It's used to view which devices and printers are attached to the computer and how to manage them. Next is Default Programs. It's used to set default programs for internet surfing, emailing, playing music, etc. Last is Help and Support. If you need help on any topic or application, click on this option and enter the topic on which you need help. The support text will be displayed. There's also an option for online help. Next is Active Desktop. Here the appearance of desktop screen can be changed by the following steps. First is click on Start button. Second, click on Control Panel. The Control Panel window will appear in Category View. You can change the view to large icons or small icons by clicking on View by option on the upper right corner of the window. Large icons and small icons will display the list of all the items in Control Panel. Next step is click on Appearance and Personalization option. Next step is choose Change the theme to change the desktop background, window color, sound and screensaver all at once. And the last step is click Apply to see the new things. Here is the image for the different steps of Control Panel. Next is Title Bar. Title bar is the topmost horizontal bar which shows the icon for the application, name of the application along with the file name of the open document. On the extreme left corner. On the right corner there are three buttons: Minimize, Restore and Close. Minimize button reduces the size of the window and makes it appear as button on the taskbar. The window does not get closed. Second is Restore. To bring the window back to its original size, we use Restore button. Third is Close. Close simply closes the window. In addition to these three options, there are following three more options in System Bar. First is Move. Move is used to move the window in the desired direction on the screen. Choose Move. A cross arrow appears on the screen. The window moves as we move the cross arrow with the mouse. Second is Size. Selecting this option helps us to resize our window vertically and horizontally. Last is Maximize. To increase the size of window to full screen, click on Maximize option. Next is menu bar. A menu bar is a thin horizontal bar containing the labels of drop-down menus in an operating system's graphical user interface. It provides the user with a standard place in a window to find a majority of program's essential functions. These functions include opening and closing files, editing text, and quitting the program. Next is scroll bars. A vertical or horizontal bar commonly located on the far right or bottom of a window that allows you to move the window viewing area up, down, left or right. Most people today are familiar with scroll bars because of the need to scroll up and down in almost every internet web page. Next is status bar. A status bar is a graphical control element used to display certain status information depending upon the application or device. It's usually displayed as a horizontal bar at the bottom of the application window on computers or along the top of the screen for tablets and smartphones. Last is the work area. With computers, the work area is an area where you work on the computer. For example, if the desktop is considered as work area, in a program such as text editor, word processor or spreadsheet, where you are typing the text in the windows is considered as the work area. Thank you, and remember, stay home, stay safe and stay healthy.